When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ludlow, and enjoy today's episode. Hello, everybody. This is Mark Ludlow with the Fearless Mindset. My special guest is Scott Ware. He comes to us from the beautiful city of Seattle, Washington, where he is the senior recruiter leadership at Amazon.com. And I've known Scott for quite a while, watched him grow in his career. And I think he launched in Microsoft. He was there for 10 years, where he managed and supported 11 organizations with Xbox, which is, I can't imagine how stressful that must have been, multitasking 10 or 11 organizations at Xbox. And he's got a degree from Southern University in computer science, I think. And Amazon wanted him so bad, they poached him from Microsoft. And now he's up there with the big boys in Seattle and working remotely in Eastern Washington due to COVID-19. And so, Scott, tell us more about what excites you about Amazon and what's going on in life up there for you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It's been a bit of a new world with working remote. I switched over to working at Amazon back in February. Lasted about 4 days going to the office, and then they sent everybody home. So they are extending the work from home policy at least until January, and makes it pretty nice, for people. Hopefully, most people have a good working at home environment. But what attracted me to Amazon was a lot of the leadership culture. I watched over the years the company grow and just kind of dominate Seattle, and didn't actually particularly think I would want to work at Amazon. It wasn't super high on my list. You hear a lot of the horror stories from people saying,
right.
They drive people pretty hard and long work hours and not enjoying it. But it kind of, from my standpoint, depends on the manager you're working for, the business group you're in,
Sure.
and, just what you like to do. So hopefully most people that are here, figure out their adjustments and liking it. But the company is growing. That's hard to not like. And I work at a pretty cool space hiring product leaders for about 15 organizations in the consumer space.
Wow. That's crazy. Like you say, the growth is so exponential right now. I read somewhere on, I think, Robinhood trading app, Amazon, the most coveted stock to own by millennials right now. I'm hearing Amazon is the stock to own because they're growing so fast.
It doesn't seem like there's a bad time to buy it. You buy it and it just went higher, and then it just keeps going higher again. Because
they're printing money, literally. The Treasury of the United States should be borrowing money from Jeff Bezos. The guy's making a fortune. And the great thing about it is you're creating jobs right now. And I just saw on my CNBC app where they're laying off 1,200 people on whatever jobs those were. I'm like, I don't know if you know much about that, or the contractor driver positions. What exactly is that about?
So Amazon ramped up a lot of hiring this year, actually. CNBC had an article earlier about approximately 75,000 new positions that Amazon is hiring between, warehouse and delivery workers, as well as corporate jobs, which is on top of the about 100,000 new positions created earlier in the year. So of course, stuff like, I think it was like 1,205 people got laid off that were part of a DSP program, which is a delivery service partner. Oh. And, all I can particularly say to that is Amazon, makes adjustments all the time. Large companies do all the time in their contract agreements with third parties and how they, hire folks. So 1,200 people getting laid off is pretty small in comparison to the number of jobs they create.
But you're saying 100,000 new positions nationwide, United States based, or global?
Well, I believe that's globally. Okay. And but that was, they're talking 75,000 new positions this year. That was earlier this year. in addition to the 100,000 jobs they were creating. So talking about 175,000 new positions.
I don't know any company that's doing that kind of hiring, especially during COVID-19. That gives people hope, especially the listeners that are listening and they're home playing video games, they're bored, collecting unemployment checks just to pay the bills. I know there's a lot of people just wondering how they're going to pay their mortgage, how they're going to pay their rent, how they're going to take care of their family because they don't know when the ban's going to be lifted and COVID-19 is going to disappear. So it definitely gives hope to those out there that are looking for work. And what's the hardest job to fill for Amazon right now? Is it delivery drivers, warehouse workers? Can you expound on that?
Oh man, I'd maybe be a little biased on that and say the positions that I hire for are about the hardest ones. You know,
Sure.
we hire a lot of engineers and pretty high bar in terms of software engineers that we look for. You know, I hire product managers, so we're looking for folks from other top retailer companies, e-commerce companies, subscription sort of service model companies, and you know, yeah, there's a lot of hard positions across the whole company that's hard to fill. But you know, what I kind of keep in mind is people are out there. You know, I just kind of got to keep looking. From my standpoint, I'm looking all over the place for people that are considering Amazon. Um, you know, it can be definitely tough to get through the process and getting your resume to the top of the list and anything like that. But you know, there's a lot of companies hiring these days. Actually, I was just talking with this about a buddy of mine that works for a top recruiting agency in the country. He's a vice president over there, and you know what's he seeing? And there's a lot of tech companies, a lot of small, medium-sized businesses that are hiring, which kind of surprised me hearing that from him. But
Sure.
um, you know, companies are adjusting with how things are now and need workers.
Right. With that, with the workers working, obviously, if they can, what's the adjustment that Amazon has made with the existing COVID-19 situation? You told me off the line when we had lunch up there in Seattle that it was nice that they let everybody go home and work. So they must have, I don't know, half 100,000 people working from home remotely.
Yeah, at the moment, you know, nobody's required to come into the office. So I went in back into the office sometime in March to get the rest of my workstation, and I haven't been back since. Um, so you know, new folks that are hired on the corporate side, they are onboarded remotely. We provide people their equipment at home. You know, we send it in the mail in a nice care package, and
But a
you know,
care
I'm
package.
hot. Yeah, nice little care package, but Amazon delivery and all your work equipment.
Does that care
Um,
package come with M&Ms and Dr. Pepper like you have in the snack bars, most of your campuses and like that?
yeah, there's some cool swag. Yeah, I mean, we don't get to go through the new employee orientation with folks. You know, like they normally would get exposed to the campus and walk around, see the buildings, get some sort of like you know first day sort of thing. But yeah, that's that sort of thing sent in the mail to people. And you know, productivity. Like, I mean, to my knowledge, with quite a few tech companies, productivity for folks has actually gone up with being home. The work life balance with you know, whereas that with Microsoft before Amazon now is very family oriented. So they encourage folks to you know take time to
Wow.
you know have a good work life balance. And I don't know. I guess I think like working from home now just helps with that. So like I don't commute an hour and 15 minutes or whatever a day you know back and forth to work. I can take that time to wake up, make some coffee, have some breakfast, and get settled in for the day, go for a jog. And you know, everybody's situation is different, but
Sure.
I think it gives your brain a little space to breathe without like you know commuting. Of course, it's nice seeing your coworkers, but we
Sure.
have a video conference platform we use to be able to do meetings. So you still get some of that high touch.
Yeah, I know I've seen Zoom stock just explode, and I'm sure like your organization and many organizations out there throughout the United States are having to do, Zoom or uh, podcasts like what we're doing, or conference calls, or use Facebook. They have a new Zoomcast thing I think they're doing. But Yeah, I'd rather do that than sitting 2 hours one way in traffic going to work. I mean, that would just drive me bonkers. But
Totally.
get more production, like you said, you get more production being at home. And I think by leadership at Amazon realizes, you know what? Think how much more they're producing, getting done, and the creative energy being spent, you know, new creative ideas to run the engine of Amazon. So it makes more sense. Maybe they'll change the way we do work, down the road.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like, Twitter even said that they shutting down their offices. People can work from home permanently.
Wow.
We'll see what other companies do that. But if you think about companies that are located in a sort of metropolitan area, and then they're going, "Hey, let's just keep our staff working at home. This is fine."
Yeah, exactly. Sleep better, have more life balance with family, work, and work out, and health gets better. Let's see. Looking at my list of questions here for you. Yeah, does Amazon offer any type of compensation for a reduction of force? Say they have to lay off a division and they reinvent the will. And I know some companies have done that just for like an insurance policy to reduce the stress of having to pay those mortgages and pay those bills and looking for a new job. How does that work for Amazon?
Yeah. So that kind of depends on the type of worker that somebody is. So there's a couple different types of employment. You got full-time employees, and you've got contingent workforce. So it really depends on that. The RIF or reduction in force that you're talking about comes when you're full-time employed, and there's oftentimes a number of different mechanisms that can be used for providing benefits when somebody leaves for that purpose. Yeah,
I bet the benefits are pretty nice for you. For an employee, I imagine they get full coverage, medical, vision, and all that stuff, and then the perks. They give you like a Black American Express card and you go spend it at Nordstrom's or anything like that, or not yet?
yeah, unlimited. Actually, Jeff Bezos donates all his wealth so we can all just have Black American Express cards.
I know he's a generous man.
No, they got perks for different stuff. Actually, like local businesses and stuff participate in some stuff where you get like discounts at restaurants and some different things for being an employee at some of the different large companies here. Yeah.
What's the biggest cities in America right now where Amazon is building out? Like Kansas City. I heard Tennessee, they're doing a huge something out there in Nashville or something. And where are the areas of the United States where you guys are growing the most?
Yeah, I don't even know necessarily on that. I know they got some growing places around the country, but I'm not sure on the locations. Yeah.
Like Salem, Oregon, for example, they built one of the biggest warehouse distribution centers I've seen, like 5 football fields on just the other side of the state prison. And I know that just went up like the last 5 years, driving up the 5 up in that area. But it's kind of crazy, the growth that's taking place just for distribution. And those jets they have flying around the air is just nuts. Like all the jets, the Prime, you can see them flying all over the country.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. They got the blimp with the drones that they're dropping out the bottom.
Oh, they're doing that too?
I think there's some cool photos you can look up of Amazon's Amazon Air program, and they've got the blimp delivery with drones that just drop out the bottom and go deliver products to people.
There goes the UPS. Cheaper dollars too. I'm going to talk about red flags. And when you have a candidate you're looking at, what are the red flags that just kind of wave at you, go, not a good fit? It's just, what do you look for as when you're taking the candidate through the process of interviewing? What are the things that if someone's applying with you, what do they need to control or not show? What are the red flags that you can look for?
Yeah. So oftentimes, from a hiring standpoint, whether it's a hiring manager or somebody like myself in recruiting, we're making comparisons of somebody's resume that we see to their, career history on LinkedIn, maybe.
Okay.
And so, sometimes people will fluff up their resume and then you go to their LinkedIn and you're like, this just kind of doesn't match up. So be honest.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah, be honest about the work you've done. Anybody that's good at their work at Amazon's going to see right through that. Gaps in employment can be kind of a yellow flag. You don't know, like you could have been on maternity leave or paternity leave, or had some sort of bereavement, or maybe you just needed a sabbatical. So there's stuff like that. But like, frequent gaps of employment, or skipping around between jobs. Like, I give some career advice to people at times, and they're like, want to get into Amazon, but I'm like, depends on where you're at, or like even just career advice in general. Just, if you have the opportunity to prove yourself where you are, do that for a little while. Don't be skipping jobs every 6 months or a year. Give it a couple years to prove yourself in the position you're at, perform well, and then you can have the credentials and references to go elsewhere. So that's some of it. People oversell work they've done, projects they've done. I usually just say, when it comes to like resumes, use quick data points, kind of just like, this is what I've done, short mission statement sort of data points in your resume. So when people start doing paragraphs about stuff they've done, I mean, red flag. You got an 8 to 10 page resume. It's like, good grief, come on, like, get it down to like 2 or 3 pages.
What's the longest resume? How many pages have you ever seen that just kind of turned the book?
Dude, I saw a guy with like 20 pages or something on his resume. Yeah, he's like, I just got a variety of experience. I was like, that's great, but I got no clue what you can actually do. So wow. That was an extreme example. Yeah, about 2 to 4 pages would be max. Yeah.
Good to know. I read on the internet or something that some companies like Apple and Google were dropping their policy requiring a bachelor's degree. I don't know if you read that too or not, but what is Amazon's policy on having a bachelor's degree now, because everything going on?
Yeah, so they did have a policy, or have had a policy for a bachelor's degree, but that's taken with a grain of salt. And yeah, I've seen that with other companies too, and dropping it. So, again, it's like that 10-year work you've done, consistency and performance. A lot of times they'll say bachelor's required or equivalent experience.
Experience.
Yeah, it's really, and there's a lot of opportunities now beyond like standard education. I mean, I'm going to give a poor example on this, but a buddy of mine has, 3 degrees. He's got a film degree, he's got a computer science degree, and then he's got his human computer interactions degree from MIT. And so great credentials, but what he's done that a lot of people should look into is like getting certifications. He's got like 27 Microsoft certifications, in addition to his degrees, but like, certifications, being certified on certain programs or processes, agile development. Microsoft's got some great tools you can look up on, their training, that you can get certified for Microsoft products, so that's, do that. If you're not going to like get your degree, have good work experience and get certified in some different stuff.
So for the listeners listening to the podcast, Scott just gave you some great tips on getting on with Amazon. Like you said, the certifications with Microsoft are key ingredients, not necessarily having a bachelor's degree, but you have those XYZ certifications from Microsoft. That's going to make you look really good, especially if you're not working. Why not go get some certifications? And, that might be a smart way to market yourself out there. And you say LinkedIn is a key ingredient too. Just make sure everything is real, truthful, and honest and transparent. So when Scott Ware and his team over at Amazon sees your resume and they talk to you, how does that usually work when you're LinkedIn? You just see somebody on LinkedIn and you just reach out to them like instant message, direct message, and ask them if they'd like to do a call sometime. Is that kind of how that goes down?
For me? What I do?
Or the recruiting team, right?
Yeah. So there's, a tool called LinkedIn Recruiter specifically. And then there's a bunch of other different methods to searching for people on the internet, behind the scenes. But yeah, there's different search criteria that we use, queries and keywords to find people that, we want to hire or reach out to.
So if I'm looking for a job, it just like you said, just be studying, taking those online classes, or try to get those certifications. If I go online and take those things and then get mailed to your email from Microsoft or whatever once you pass that test. Do you have to necessarily go? Is those classes usually go through university, like Arizona University or University Online, or?
No, you can actually look that up directly on Microsoft's certification stuff. They've got, you can just look up how to get Microsoft certifications on their e-learning platforms, and you don't have to go
Okay.
to university necessarily. There's also Udemy, udemy.com. You can get your PMP certification, Azure certification, SQL, Excel, Microsoft Excel, number of stuff. Udemy, yeah.
So that's great for the listeners or the viewers to know about just what they should do as far as taking classes online, just to be a candidate with Amazon. Another question I'm going to ask is, say I'm a candidate, I'm applying for position with your firm. How many interviews can I expect to go through just to be considered a qualified candidate? It's, I know the interview process with different companies. What does it look like with you guys?
Yeah. Amazon will have people go through a couple phone screens and then a full interview loop. Is pretty standard. So if you come in as a contingent, part of the contingent workforce, that'll be a little bit less, maybe a phone screen and less people on the interview loop. So folks can start off by being a contractor. A lot of people do. So there's, agencies that work with Microsoft to put people on payroll and have people be a contractor for a period of time. And then you can do this kind of like contract to hire. And it gives you an opportunity to prove yourself, perform. Performance metrics are a little bit lighter sometimes. And so it's a good way to enter the workspace. But you go through a couple phone screens, and a full interview loop is about 5 people for about an hour each that you talk
Hour
to.
Each?
Yeah.
Wow, 5. That's got to be an exhausting day.
Yeah, you got to keep your energy level up.
Whoa.
Pace yourself. Yeah, take some good prep work. It's like, your final exam.
Whoa. A lot of coffee, a lot of caffeine. So they're looking for, I know you mentioned to me offline, was the Amazon looking for the 14 leadership principles. You did tell me to look that up. I did look that up last night. And
cool.
They're looking for those 14 leadership principles in each candidate, kind of what the whole idea behind that.
Yeah. Not every position is going to necessarily utilize all of those leadership principles, more or less. But what I tell people is you probably applied these leadership principles, most of them, if not all of them, but most of them in your personal life or professional life before. So
sure.
Just like take the leadership principles, and sure, there's a lot of uniqueness to Amazon and the style of interviews and the work culture. But, if you just look up online the 14 leadership principles and just like start to reflect on times you've used any of those in your own career. And that's what the interview style is. It's like, it's a behavioral assessment and I say, tell me a time when, or, give me an example when you did something. And so I just tell people start to take those leadership principles and blend that into like your own experience.
And I know what got my interest there when I read those, the first one was customer service. The customer was like, I think that was the first one. Everything revolves around the priority is the customer, regardless. I mean, that's the first mission right there, is the customer, getting that product to the customer. Like, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Jeff Bezos said in the beginning, that like it was never necessarily about making money. It was about doing right by the customer. And if you can do right by who your customer is, which same thing goes through the hotel industry, and you want to have good guest relations. The same thing goes with, any sort of shopping experience online, or, the airline industry and stuff. They hearing the CEO of American Airlines or something recently, and they're like, we're not in the business, especially like right now for COVID, of making money. We need to maintain. We can worry about, profitability later. We want to stay in business, but we want to like provide people the service that, we are in business to do. And, yeah, that's been Amazon's deal from the beginning. The leadership principle, customer obsession, and that's a good one for anybody to keep in mind. Like everybody, if you're an entrepreneur or you're in, you're a business minded person, you need to make a profit, but like you don't make a profit unless you do right by the customer. So
I never heard the word customer service obsession. I mean, I saw that in the leadership principle. Like, who says that? Obsession. It's like reckless abandonment. It's just like, wow, okay, that's different. And then you have, go ahead.
The customer obsession thing is interesting. The obsession part, but it's really an empathetic thing. It's a word that is like, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Like, and we've all had experiences, and when you have a poor customer experience, that sucks. Like, that stands out, and you want to complain. When you have a good customer experience, it's like that's great. That's what I expect. I should have a good customer experience. But yeah, more companies should adopt that. Everybody should. We're all customers to something. There's a transaction taking place all the time, and when you start to be empathetic towards whoever your customer is, even internal, like my colleagues are my customer to some extent. I hire for different business groups, and they are my customer. I'm delivering a service to them.
Yeah, you know what company just kind of flashed through my head was Chick-fil-A. At your service,
good one.
And they say key words, and that's why I like going there. The food's great, and their customer service is, you just don't get that at McDonald's. They don't give a crap if you show up to their counter or not. But Chick-fil-A is like, they roll out the red carpet, and here's your lemonade, sir. I'm at your service. I'm like, no one says that.
Yeah, I think from even the side of being the employee, I mean, you find more fulfillment when you're doing good for others. I adopted like this Zig Ziglar quote for myself a long time ago: is do more for others than they can do for themselves. Right. And when you start, putting yourself in other people's shoes and being empathetic towards stuff, which society as a whole should do a lot more towards each other, right? And when you start just not thinking about me and what I can gain, and doing right by other people, you find purpose in that. So,
yeah, I've always learned through some different mentorship, as you're aware, the biggest leaders are the biggest servers of all. You got to be the biggest server. It's not all about you; it's about your team. Look at the Navy SEAL teams out there. It's team and not I team. And they go kick ass. And they do some of the most deadly work in the world. And that's why, we have the fearless mindset. You just like Jeff Bezos is so fearless in his ability to take this empire of Amazon and just conquer what he's conquering. But yet people don't realize what he's doing. He's providing this work ability to all these people that are furloughed and out of work, and they need work to pay their bills. And he's given that opportunity. So yeah, the top 1% create the middle class, and from their crumbs you will eat. So there's that. That's as far as political I'll get.
Yeah, no, it's a high tide raises all ships. People knock Amazon for being a huge company, but they employ a lot of people, and they have carried along a lot of other businesses too. And so anybody can throw tomatoes at the person sticking their head out from the crowd, but let's do a little bit deeper dive there. So, that's stuff I feel exposed to now. Like, I didn't work at Amazon before. I had like a summer stint, years ago, which was a pretty cool thing that I was working on then. But high tide raises all ships.
Yeah, absolutely. How many people does Amazon really employ? Because I know they have probably hundreds of thousands and contractors, and you got full-time employees, the FTEs, I think they're called.
That's a good question. I think I mean, I'm even looking it up. I don't know what the current numbers are myself. There's eight, 900,000, something like that.
Almost 1 million people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of families.
It's a lot of people. And that's, that's like contractors and employment, full-time and part-time people. But you've got sellers on Amazon, affiliate partners, on Amazon. So the amount of money transacted for other people that are selling and making an income, extends way beyond that.
True. They have their
Yeah.
stores on Amazon. They get a percentage off that.
Yep.
I heard too, there's a program for delivery drivers where you can lease your own truck or something. It's like a franchise thing with Amazon. You become a delivery driver or something.
Yeah, there is. You can, you can become your own, excuse me.
Sure.
You can become your own business with Amazon for delivery services. Yeah.
That's strictly your 1099 with that category, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Franchisee of the delivery service.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know for the viewers and listeners out there for Christmas. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people trying to figure out how to pay the bills. Christmas coming around the corner, holidays. How do I pay the bills and pay the mortgage? And I think it's $10,000 startup cost or something like that for a franchisee or something to buy a truck and be a partner affiliate.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple different programs. You've got logistics.amazon.com.
Okay.
Is one of them. And just because I'm going to see Amazon delivery. Yeah, I think that's the best one to go to.
Okay. So the viewers listening to that, you might want to type that down, whatever Scott just said on that website. And I'm sure with the growth going on right now with the holidays, everybody's grounded at home. Hey, why not be a delivery driver and wear your mask and gloves and make some money? Get out of the house. It's good for the mind. It's good for the soul. And it gives your wife and your kids a break from you.
It's needed sometimes. Yeah. Even just thinking, excuse me.
Sure.
Robert Kiyosaki had said a good quote recently I listened to. He said, the best time to start a new business is right after a market crash. And something good to think about when you're looking for new ways to make money, be innovative, innovate yourself, take on new stuff, find new hobbies.
Yeah.
New ideas come to mind.
If you had told me I'm doing this a year ago, I'd laughed at you, but hey, pivot, reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's it. It's like 2020 is this year of like death and rebirth of stuff. So I keep saying it's a year of forced change. And
Yeah,
it's growing pain, stuff that like we didn't want to have to do or change and adjust. Everybody's like, oh man, 2020 is gonna be great. We're gonna live on a high. And then just everything went to shit quick. And then it got worse. And then it's getting worse. But no, it's when you take a step back and you go, I'm being forced to change and learn new things and adjust. I mean, that's good. I mean, take the politics out of it. I tell people just shut the freaking news off. Like, what if everybody just boycotted the news media for like a month and just everybody, I mean, don't watch Fox, don't watch CNN, unplug from both sides.
I agree.
And yeah, and just like, that'd be so great.
Oh, yeah, I think you just nailed it. The elephant in the room is that, that's their problem is media, network TV, misinformation, you get so much more done.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta think a lot of these organizations, they've got an agenda and it's going to come across in different ways. But for, people that are, we're all being put through, a period of time with a lot of change going on in society and all sorts of stuff going on. I mean, it's a good time to like expand on your interests. Go back to like the things you're passionate about, like your talents, your gifts, and apply those and grow those. And get rid of everything else that's being a distraction, and just like focus on stuff that you know makes your life more joyful.
That's your key to success, right? That's what you've been doing. You've actually done.
That's what I've been focusing on. Man, I've been focusing on it so much. So
It's shown.
yeah.
I mean, look what you've done in your career. It's showing. The Secret Habits of Successful People by Scott Ware. We'll copyright that
Just
for you.
little nuggets.
Little gold nuggets there. Take notes, guys. Take notes. Well, I think we're a wrap. We're about, I think, 10 minutes over our time. But I know you're busy, Scott, with Amazon and helping people find work and taking care of everything up there. And I appreciate your time. I know you're busy. And well, I definitely have to have back you on when things get a little crazier and see what your forecasts are and get your expert opinion from the software space and all that. But yeah, we'll be offline up regarding those things. And thanks again for your time and for being on the show.
Cool. Appreciate it, Mark. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Cheers.